liquor store could sell, have taste testings of alcohol in the liquor store.
That's a good idea.
I don't know if that happens very often. You should have a big line outside, but you could do that. In theory, the statute allows for that. But it does not allow for the sale of wine by the glass in a restaurant or other facility, and then also selling bottles of wine to take off premises. So, that's, unfortunately, that's what the statutes provide, and
I'm glad you cleared that up.
so, again,
We do have in the audience who Jennifer Rhodes is present. She's going to be one of the members besides Norris Gray. And one of the stipulations, whichever way you pass, it's got to pass the ordinances with the building inspector, fire inspector, follow all village ordinances, and then Cindy Muther's license either way would have to be surrendered before the new one could be issued. And they're looking, Jennifer, like the first of the year maybe, that you would open the shop?
The other thing that I would note, the statute with these limitations, it says that you can't sell it in the same premises or a contiguous premise. So you couldn't put a wall between the two and sell wine by the bottom on one side of the wall and wine by the glass on the other
They
side.
thought everything, didn't
It's
they?
got to go on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Just bring it by me, I'll taste test it for you.
But, yeah, so it's, again, these are, whenever Karen gets one of these things, we always take a look at it because, unless you're doing this on a daily basis, it makes your head spin as to which one is where, and it's vastly different depending on where the quotations are.
So right now we have the Class A, and then just tastings, which don't fall under that Class C at all?
No, so that, so the Class A would allow for the sale of liquor and wine, but for off premises, and the Class C would allow for just wine by the glass.
So Cindy does not have a Class C.
Right.
Right.
It's not.
But it allows also the sale of the wine, not the drinking on premises, but also the tasting is
Right.
okay.
Right, so you can sell the bottles to take home,
Yeah.
and you can allow tastings under the same license.
Okay.
But the tastings require you come back to the board under our ordinance for board approval for that.
For events.
Events, yes,
Oh,
yes.
Then they designate
That's
the
what
days and
you're-
times.
That's what we've been doing in the past.
3 different tastings at the same meeting for.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Flower shop too, does the same thing. Yeah.
So unfortunately, that, selling wine by the bottle and wine by the glass don't mix. No pun intended.
Jennifer, do you have some recommendations of where you want to see this go?
I have one question then. So my understanding from you was that it would be a possibility to sell beer to be consumed at home
No.
and wine by the glass? Is that what you said?
Let me check. The class,
Because in our ordinance, the Class A beer is only at petroleum is their principal business. And then with
Right.
Class A wine only, under the liquor, wine only would be with gift shops.
right,
Hmm.
right.
Because that ordinance was changed years ago in order to allow that when Weary's Flowers
Yeah.
had the flower shop, and then when we had the gas stations coming into town, I think it was with Alborn.
Yeah.
He requested to have beer, and then all the other ones wanted it also.
Mhm.
Then I think it would be our wish to just proceed with the Class C wine
By the glass.
by the glass
On premise.
on the
On premise,
premises.
yes.
And that would be like the stipulations that we discussed too, because the building inspector, you'd have to come show your plans. I don't know how much inside work you'd be doing, but with if you're having a bar area and so forth, then
Is there gonna be a restaurant along with it?
Well, the floor plan will stay pretty much as is.
Okay.
So there's some table seating. One of the things that will be changing is we plan on adding a stage area for evening entertainment.
Okay.
So it would just, we're not gonna per se have a bar, like
Right.
with bartender behind it.
Well, and that's why I'm asking, because if it's under those restaurant provisions, again, if somebody didn't finish their bottle of wine, they could purchase it and leave with it. But it's only one bottle, so they can't, somebody couldn't get. Well, yeah, it says per person. So somebody couldn't get cute and buy, 4 bottles of wine and open them all up and take a sip and then cork them back up and walk out the door with them. But yeah, it's 1 bottle per person that you can take.
So then I have a question for Chief Mark. Say if they're in operation with the Class C wine license by the glass and they take the rest of their bottle home, say there's a half left, would they have to have some kind of a special seal on that? Because all of a sudden, if
My
they'd be
my
going
guess
down
is
the
it
road
would
and
be
get
because you're gonna look
stopped?
at an open intoxicant otherwise. So there's gotta, it has to
Yeah,
be
there-
provisions in there
it
with
talks-
sealing of wine. And
Yes.
it might be as simple as a heat seal, put a heat gun or something of that nature today, or it could be something else.
You can just cork it and go with
Yeah,
some type of seal.
that's it exactly. The statute says it's gotta be fully recorked, so the cork's gotta be down inside, below the lip of the bottle.
Get the hammer out.
Well, yeah, but I mean, so you'd have to
There's
essentially
provisions
put
what they
a,
do.
yeah, you'd have to put another cork puller
To
in
open it up,
to get it
yeah.
open up again. So
Okay.
yeah, you can't just, by hand, just stick the cork in and walk out with the cork. Probably
I wouldn't drink it out of
Yeah.
home, I think so.
So if the bottle happened to have a metal top, you might have to have a tamper evidence seal like that, like you mentioned.
Whatever the
Heat.
state is going to, have to look at the provisions. This is new to me. It,
Yeah.
catching me off guard, and I'm not able to answer that without looking into it a little bit.
You want to jump off a cliff?
No.
So what I'm guessing too, because we have the and/or Class C here, we can still approve this tonight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You
if we wish
you
to.
could have, and the reason Karen did this is because we were still looking into this.
Right.
There was a potential, we were kind of hoping we could find an answer that would allow for both.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, under state statute, you can't, and under our, as Karen explained too, under our code, it just doesn't work. We couldn't find a way to mesh the 2 operations in one building.
So she can find one that works for her business, whatever it might be.
And Jennifer, you don't feel like you have to consult with Nora? You're comfortable saying C is
Yes.
your wishes, okay?
Nora was in on all the conversations in the
Okay,
meetings,
good.
that we had.
Mhm.
And I did publish in the paper, I went through Attorney Van Castle also, and that's why I published it and/or, because I
Yeah,
wanted them to
yeah.
be both covered when it did appear in the paper, and everything is legal the way we did it. I just didn't know which one, or if they could have both.
Perfect.
And then Cindy Muther agrees to
Surrender?
surrender her Class C? is
No,
it?
she has a Class A right now,
Class
but
A.
she would still have to surrender her license, correct, Bill, before the new one
Absolutely
could be
correct,
issued?
yes.
And we discussed that when we met.
And those types of things are typically in the purchase agreements that they have from one business to another, that payment of the final purchase price by the buyer is contingent upon the seller surrendering their license so that the new one can be issued.
And then I explained to Jennifer and Nora too that they would need the operator, bartender applications also to come in front of the board. Those would be the stipulations also.
All right.
Okay, any other questions? So we're gonna go with the Class C approval. We have a motion and second.
Nope.
No. Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Bruce,
I'll second it.
Bob Gayaski.
And then with all the stipulations, with the Class C
Correct,
stated, follow village ordinances, surrender of Cindy Luther's license, and building inspector, fire inspector, police
Yep.
department. Okay.
Everything that Bill said.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Tom Rogers, do you also need to, with that grease trap? Ordinance
Not at
over
this
there?
time, I don't, no.
Okay, moving on to number 11, we have payment request from Robert E. Leaves and Associates, invoice 73073, miscellaneous amount of $637.75. Invoice 73074, stormwater utility updates, in the amount of $397. 73075, Crest Drive / Pelican Road Extension, in the amount of $10,516.88. And invoice 73076, capital improvement list update, in the amount of $1,342.45. Any questions?
What was done with the Crest Drive Pelican extension, just surveying and,
That was the preliminary
Preliminary.
engineering for a roundabout and on Crest Drive and the extending Pelican to County B,
Including utilities.
including utilities.
is that all complete now? Or
No,
No,
just
what,
this, the very beginning of it.
yes,
Yeah, I mean, we've got, I'd say we're, design-wise, we're probably at 40-50%, something like that.
okay.
We met with Brown County this morning.
Mhm.
They approved all of our preliminary
Yeah,
uh,
no major changes to speak of, so, I mean, that was good, that was good news for us.
any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'm sorry. Second by Doug. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 12, to discuss and consider to approve applications for a permit to keep fowl within the village of Pulaski as per resolution 1065-2011 adopted June 6, 2011. And please note that applications were mailed to 2 residents.
Cameron Spindler, 198 East Green Bay Street, Pulaski, Wisconsin, 54162, info mailed November 24th, 2017, and Michelle Matushak, 525 Lincoln Street, Pulaski, Wisconsin, info mailed November 29th, 2017, but applications paperwork were not returned as of when the agenda was posted on Friday. So we did get the application this morning from Brooke Paul and Cameron Spindler. Everybody has copies of that for 198 East Green Bay Street. She brought that in this morning. We did not get the one from Michelle Matushak. I believe they were interested in returning their application form sometime in spring of 2018. But we do have Brooke Paul and Cameron Spindler in the audience if there's any questions. Everybody has copies along with their the coop and so forth. That does have to go through Chief Mark also, and then the building inspector looking at this. Like I mentioned, we just got it today. They did submit a $25 check, and it looks like they want to have three hens. And they have, I don't know how many of their neighbors are close, but they have, I can't even read that, at 182 East Green Bay Street, Aubrey.
That's the neighbor to the west, and then we also have one behind, one on the corner lot.
Oh,
Which is
okay.
the one that's supposed to go behind.
So how do you state that name that she signed at 182 East Green Bay Street?
I'm not sure the last name is there.
This was in,
This was a couple weeks ago.
can type one in the water bill if you need it. Okay.
There's another one.
And then Ronald Gajewski, 425 Flora Street. Those are the 2 that they had.
John, does the board have any questions of the spenders that you wish I can open the floor?
I do have one question for our ordinance. How many chickens can you have total?
I think
Six?
I think
I think it's
six, and no,
No roosters.
And then does this go to Bill, that they can always, or say if they want to get 2 more hens, do they have to come back again, or can, okay.
Yes.
The picture of the facility, is that something you already have?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have
There's the
experience?
house, and then the driveway goes to the backyard to the shop.
Okay.
So the coop would go on the back of the shop. And then
Yes.
there's like a wooded tree line after the back of the shop and a little creek. So we can't really see it.
How long have you raised chickens?
I grew up farming, so
Okay.
my dad has chickens.
Are you coming from the country, or?
I grew up in O'Connell and
Okay.
then moved to Green Bay, but my dad lives over in Swamico and has some chickens.
If I'm picturing the right property, it seems pretty secluded, quite a bit of trees behind you and behind the creek.
Well, yeah, they run about the whole backyard, the tree line does.
Okay.
So you can't really see into the backyard unless you're on Green Bay Street.
Huh.
do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Bob Pulaski,
I'll second.
second by Roger. Any other discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Karen, you will work out the paperwork and get you taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 13, discussion and possible action to increase the non-resident park fees from $5 per child to $10 per child effective 1/1 of 2018. Doug?
Oh, we discussed this small increase to help with our budget, especially with the expenses that we have in our parks program. I think we pretty much came to the decision as something that we need to do, but we didn't have any motion and second and a vote on it. And I'd like to, if this gets approved, share it with those organizations. Because right about now is probably when they're getting ready to put their registration together. So, we kind of built it into our budget numbers.
So, somebody want to make a motion to approve the increase?
I'll make that
By Chris, second by Roger. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And I will send an email to each of the organizations.
Number 14, to consider approval of operator bartender license applications ending in 6/30 of 2018.
I have none, and Jennifer, if you're going to have some, we'll have a year-end board meeting. You can submit those prior to, they'll be setting that, I don't know when that's going to be yet, but in December yet, before the end of the year. But that's when you would need to submit those applications if you wanted them for the first of the year. Otherwise, they'll be setting also the January board meeting. Being January 1st is a holiday on the first Monday, I don't know when they're going to have that either. They'll be discussing that yet.
There be a none. Number 15, persons desiring to be heard.
I just had one quick question with the letter that we got about the library from concerned citizens. Did we send a letter to them too, or not yet?
We've had Kristen and Mark Becker trying to explain the process, where we're not part of the process.
Right,
That's the
right.
problem.
So long as they understand that, okay.
And Mark Becker and Brian Simmons and now really understand that you better give us a plan that we can have in our hand.
Okay,
You've had almost a year now,
okay.
and how can you build without a plan?
Right, exactly.
through emails, Mark Becker said that he called, I believe their last name is Runquist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Memorial Drive. He said he called them and he explained the situation, that the village, we aren't the bad guys.
Okay.
So those letters are hard to deal with, but you know, you gotta settle down
Right.
and
Well, just so the communication line
I've
stays
got a
open.
stack of emails and stuff back and forth for the last year and a half on this stuff, so it's well documented that we're trying to work with everybody.
It's good.
Persons desire to be heard. Third time, persons desire to be heard. Number 16, such other matters is authorized by law. Such other matters, third time, such other matters. 17, department reports, public works.
Leaf collection will stop this week. We'll go to the end of the week. We do need to take it off and have some maintenance on the truck. But the amount of leaves still on the trees, we'll more than likely be putting it back on in spring for a couple week period. With that, our compost site, we did just have it ground up. We're doing some dirt work in that area to level it off. And if you notice any people dumping things they shouldn't be, just let us or the police department know.
Write the license number down.
Yeah, we have had a couple, and we've been working with the judge and the officers on cleanup fees for them, so.
Joel, did you reach a conclusion in regards to what we discussed?
Roger reached out to me today in regards to the van. We just started pulling out the plows and all that stuff today. I did speak with TR in regards to moving some of our stuff into his shop for the winter. I guess it, like I expressed to you, I don't know if the village would need some sort of agreement with them, or, I mean, it's gonna be tight.
Or the senior van you're talking, senior car van.
And what arose today, I got a phone call from the, well, it was from Larry Poussin actually, and then I talked with Kitty from the senior center too. Curative Connections is going to take the van on us if we don't provide a space for it.
It sounds like a threat.
Yeah, it is, but we did, Bruce even helped me, we're kind of looking for a place other than the back of the library, and one option was the BVM garages, and they approached Father Pat, I believe, on that, and he said no to that. It's full of whatever, I don't know, bingo tables or whatever. And of course, Joe, soft water, Town and Country Soft Water moved, and they're in the Cleary building there now temporarily. And Richard Atkevich said he had a hard time finding, you know, a spot
Too, yeah.
He actually was at, he had a spot reserved at Peters Concrete, but that didn't work out for him, so.
So the senior center is leaving it up to us to find?
Well, no, they're
Spot?
not leaving it up to us, just, I guess the misunderstanding happened when they took the van out of the building, in back of the library, and just for convenience, and parked it during the summer months by their senior center building. And I'm gonna say miscommunications arose from that. The Public Works Department thought probably we weren't using it anymore or whatever. And so I don't know, one thing developed to another, and it's a dilemma now for them. And I can sympathize with them because it's no fun scraping windows in wintertime. So their thoughts were to, if the village would accommodate them with, for a 1-year period or whatever, because we know eventually that we will be out of there.
Well, the fear that I have is if we let them back in, we'll never get rid of them.
As we speak right now, we have a loader and a pickup truck sitting outside tonight I mean, that's how tight it is.
Yeah. Why do you say, Reed, that we wouldn't get rid of them, or, I mean,
Well, they had
you
no
wouldn't be
incentive to
bound.
find an alternative.
I just have a question. Are they able to store it on a private property? Or is there some kind of,
I couldn't tell you that, Chris. Like Joe and I discussed a little bit, you know, he was concerned about liability. Also, if there would be a fire or something, then Joe stated that he would like some, if we do park it there, some type of a written agreement.
so,
We would accept, we would be willing to pay a fee, a small fee. I mean, we can't pay $100 a month to store it there, but
so the vehicles that you took out are usually in there?
What we use it as cold storage, so that's our plows. Anything that doesn't need heat to be stored goes in there. So like,
So you're taking something out so that van can be in there?
as of right now, we have lawnmowers, mowers, leaf vac, all that usually goes there. Our Pokeday stuff, our barricades, we're hoping to keep our shoring in there, so it's, shoring is what we use for our water breaks. It's a matter of just pulling it out when we have a water break. I mean, all that stuff, like I said, doesn't need to be heated, but it's nice when it's out of the elements. I mean, because that's not a heated facility where the van is kept.
Okay, I'm still a little
So,
confused.
in-
So are we actually moving the things out so that van can be there?
We're moving things out now because it's change of season, so we're taking all the plows and
Right.
wings. And so a loader and a pickup is outside because we got, you know, now loaders and plows and wings. And then once we take the leaf vac and the mowers all over, it's changing of the season, we're changing
Right.
stuff, and then we're gonna be parking it in there. We don't
I
have,
think what you're saying, that if that would happen, our stuff would have to be kept outside,
right.
right?
So why are we doing that then?
Well, that's what we're talking about.
I-
I mean, I did talk to TR and moving some of our stuff around to make it, try to make something work.
I'm all about trying to help, but if that's what it's coming down to, I don't know. Roger,
And plus an insurance liability, because like
Yeah, I'm-
Roger was mentioning too, and along with Joel, correct, Bill? It'd be like, say if there was some damage, you know, with that van, if that was damaged, if there was a fire or something.
or someone backs
what
into
our
it or moves it or
insurance-
scratches
yes,
or
and- And you
something.
would have to keep that area snowplowed too, so they would have access to get to that van.
And then, or at least a contact, so if we need to move it to get
well,
at some
we
of our
discussed
equipment.
that. We said we'd leave a key there so you could move it out.
That might be a problem too, though. I mean,
Right, I don't know if they're gonna want us,
Private might create a liability insurance liability issue as well, so.
I could understand if we had spare space, but now you're leaving equipment out that perhaps would get
And-
ruined, or we'd have to spend money later on to take care of
Keep it
it.
up to keep, yeah.
I'm picturing one garage door.
one garage door.
So we have a water main break, there's a van in the way